Welcome to Halas Hall Report live every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. CST. Live talking Chicago Bears football with Mike the Bear Fan. I'm your host, Ken Dobb. Also on the panel, we have the football analyst, Woody, who is named for the Woody wrap-up on game days. Next up on the panel, we have newcomer Bear Fan Mike. Where he is so young, he doesn't even know what the 4-6 defense was. Halas Hall Report breaks down the Chicago Bears team all year long, from the offseason through the draft. Also, the legend of tailgating, Billy Defense Flores, joins the crew live at 1st and 10 tailgating. You can find him at all home games at Soldiers Field. Also, the Bear Fan, who has been here since the first year of Halas Hall Report, welcome Bear Fan Dan, where he is the 2023 Pick'ems champion over his rival Woody. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Roku if you have a TV. They are all over social media. You won't find no better sources for Chicago Bears news like injury reports, team updates for breaking news for all the good and the bad the team does. Halas Hall Report will be live for the 6th season. And they are teaming up with the best sports podcast out on social media.
This is Northeast Streaming Sports.
Northeast Streaming Sports, your personal sports network, 52 weeks a year. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, share, and always comment. So enjoy the show.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to another Halas Hall Report Sunday. I'm your host, Ken, joined today, of course, by Bear Fan Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Woody. Good morning, Woody.
Yo.
Woody's in a mood tonight, guys, so get ready for it. Brace for impact. In fact, I've got my coffee ready just for Woody today. And we've got the youngin' who was – oh, my God, I can't believe you dined me out for not knowing the 46 defense because I wasn't born yet. Good morning, Mike. So, hey, guys, look, it's our off season, but, man, have we been busy, have we not? I mean, we got a lot to cover today. We got about a half hour and a lot of stuff to cover. Mike, the Bear Fan, do the producing thing. He'll pop in here in a second. We are short on time already, so let's just hop into it. We've got coaches to hire, and I know Woody's waiting. Let's start. We have a brand new OC in the house, right? So Shane Waldron hired away from Seattle, where he'd been the OC there, and he's worked under, he's worked under a bunch of people. Let's hit that real quick, and then we'll get to Woody because he wants to give a grade, I know. But look, he worked under Belichick, McVay, Gruden. So he's got the lineage. He's not a first-time OC, which is a departure for the Bears, it seems. So I'll go straight into it because I know Woody's been chomping the bit. Woody, let me know what you think about our new OC, Shane Waldron.
So it wasn't one of the coordinators I wanted. He has worked with Seattle, so whatever. But it seems like that I give it a C. I don't know what he's up to or how he's been. I mean, like I say, he's been working with Geno Smith. But there's so some other coordinators out there. I think we jumped the gun too quick. I mean, now Kellen Moore is in silly. We didn't even have an interview with him because the Chargers blocked us, whatever that meant. Who gives a fuck? But I think we jumped the gun, but we'll see how it goes starting next year. It might prove me wrong, but I give it a C.
Woo, Dan, how about you? Where are you feeling about this new hire of Coach Waldron?
I really don't know much about the guy, but wasn't with Seattle. Wasn't Russell Wilson? Did he work under Russell Wilson? Work with him?
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But then again, I said the same thing about Gutsy. I said he had Rodgers working underneath him, but never know. For right now, I gotta say a C.
How about you, Mike?
I agree. C plus. The bar. He's pass heavy offensive coordinator. Doesn't do too much running. He's been a lot of places. The question is why he hasn't been a head coach. He's been an OC in a lot of places, but not a head coach. So I agree with Woody and Dan. I give it a C.
Mike?
I'm with you. I give it a C plus as well. I mean, he was with the Redskins for a little while, the Rams, like you said, Mike. He's been around the league a little bit. Just some people aren't head coach material. You know what I mean? Not saying he's not, but I believe he's more of an offensive play caller than just a head coach. I think it's better for the team. I couldn't stand last year's with so many screen passes. I think you guys agree with me. It'll be a little less to that. And he was over there working with Metcalf and Lockett, so I think it'd be good.
Yeah, Vic Fangio wasn't a head coach forever in his career, right? So I don't see that as a knock as far as him not of being a head coach in the league yet. Fangio been in the league for a millennia before he got a head coaching gig, right? And that didn't work out so well for him. And now he's a great DC, right? Um, I'm cautiously optimistic because if you look at his grades as far as where his offenses have been, um, they're middle of the road. He hasn't had that top tier offense, and that might be why he's not been a head coach yet. Um, I don't know. I think though, in a way, it's better. It definitely does guard the hand of what Poles is trying to do with the draft and free agency. It doesn't, it doesn't say much. It's not like if you got Roman, you're keeping Fields. It's kind of an open book. And then we go out and we hired his QB coach. Right? We got another Seattle product. So okay, what about Coach Joseph here? So I mean, look at Kerry's got a good background, right? But it was weird is he was a defensive back, but he's a quarterbacks coach. But he coached Geno Smith, Fitzpatrick, and Drew Brees. I mean, okay. I mean, what do you? I would assume that maybe this hire had to make you a little bit happier at least.
Well, yeah, a little bit happier than the offensive coordinator. Wow. Yeah, so too bad we only have a half hour. He worked. I don't know. Geno Smith, he's okay. I think definitely had a better year than most, but I give this. I don't know. I give this a B because I think anything's better than Getsky and the other offensive coaches that we had. Like I said, we'll see how it works. I like I said, I'll say it every time. I think we jumped the gun on some of these coaches. Ben Johnson now going to be coach at Washington at the end of the year. Like I said, Kellen Moore in Philly, Vic Fangio back in Philly, shit like that. So a lot of better coaches out there.
Dan, do you like this hire for the QB coach?
Yeah. It was showing who he had underneath him and Drew Brees, and we all know how good Drew Brees was in that. He hadn't worked underneath him, so I too would have to give like a B.
How about you, Bear Down Mike?
I'm gonna give it a C plus. I know he worked with Drew Brees and Ryan Fitzpatrick and Geno Smith. Two pocket quarterbacks, and Geno's can be a pocket quarterback, but it kind of makes me worried if they stay with Justin, he's gonna be. Yeah, I'm not sure about this guy.
Hey, Mike the Bear fan. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic, I guess, than the rest of the guys are. I mean, look, he was a former DB, which gives a unique perspective to a quarterback, right? Because you can give him what the defensive player is thinking. He played the position in the league. I like it, whether it's Justin, Caleb, whatever the quarterback situation is going to be. We'll get into that at a later date and time. But I'm not so sure about jumping the gun like Woody said, because if you look at what's going on in the league, everyone's hiring their coaches right now. It's coach hiring season. So I don't think the Lions will let us even talk to Ben Johnson, let alone say his name. So if he was the only guy who's still coaching that would have been on our radar, I'm fine with us making the hires we had. I don't know, where do you sit on this?
I personally like it. I think we go out and get a center, and then our line would be so much more solid. That way, you can make play calls for a pocket quarterback. When you got a beat up line that you just shuffle the cards around, got some good solid people on the line, but when he's forced to roll out and stuff, you got to make the play calls. Plus, it is Justin Fields. He's a mobile quarterback, and it's good both ways.
Yeah, and the line wasn't really bad. I mean, he's still, if you look at the time ball held, he's number 2 in the league behind Patrick Mahomes. So they're giving him adequate protection to pass. Overall, I mean, we remember the moments because they're easy to remember versus all the times that they give him enough time to do his taxes back there. But I mean, I'm hopeful that we get some better play calling. I'm hopeful that this QB coach gives him a different insight into what's happening on the field of play. But look, we're 2 coaches down. We still need to hire a few more here, right? We need a receivers coach. We need an assistant / tight end coach and a running back coach. So I think though, look, I think the tight end coach, I think that's an easy one, right? You don't even have to hire a coach. You just re-sign a player, and his name is Mercedes Lewis.
Well, I just want to say about the jumping the gun. That's a little bit strong, but I'm saying there's a lot better coaches out there that were available, and that we just felt like we just picked the freaking first or second one that we interviewed. So that's what I meant. There's better coaches out there that we could have got or at least interviewed. I know Ron Rivera had a defensive coordinator interview with Philly. I didn't hear nothing that we could interview him or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a lot better coaches out there.
Well, we'll get into the DC hire in a minute, but I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, look, when Getsy came here, his pedigree was, we were like, okay, we had Rodgers, they make the playoffs every year, and then he was terrible. So I don't know sometimes if the name or the better coach, or actually even better situation. If you guys remember Jay Cutler's first 2 years, we had a phenomenal OC, the guy who designed the greatest show on turf in St. Louis. And as a Bears offense coordinator, Mike Martz was horrendous. His offense was terrible in Chicago. So I get what you're saying, Woody, but I don't know at the same time if that's always the best fit. You know what I mean?
Well, how do we know if he didn't even try? Like the interviewing. If I would have saw Bears interviewed Kellen Moore, Ben Johnson, whatever, I would have felt a lot better about myself. And we went through it last week with the coaches that we wanted, like Kubiak. You know what I mean? I didn't even hear any interviews with these guys. That's what I'm talking about jumping the gun.
I feel you. I guess I would have to have a little bit of faith that Poles knew what he was looking for, and maybe those guys weren't even factored in because he already knew they weren't what he was looking for. Maybe a certain type of personality, certain something. That's a hard part.
A little bit.
So, okay, we'll move on because we also hired a DC. So this is our new DC. Now look at once again, look, he's not a bad pedigree, right? He was the assistant head coach and defensive line coach for Buffalo, right? And a former DC of the Panthers. And the Panthers have had good defenses. In 2018-19, I can't remember how good they were there. But let's face it, we all know Fluss is still going to call the defense. The DC was more of an in-name only kind of thing, right? But Woody, I heard a chuckle, so give it to me, brother. What do you think about our new defensive coordinator?
I'm the happiest out of all the coaches we hired so far. Like you said before, Carolina always had good defenses, and like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Buffalo always had good defenses too. So I'm like, this is probably the happiest coach that I out of this hiring spree so far is the DC because like you said, Eberflus is going to be calling it, but this guy is going to be helping out, and Eberflus has to concentrate more on both sides of the ball, not just one.
Yeah, Dan, it seems to me that this is a good hire as well because he's had some success in other places he's been. He doesn't have to worry about designing the defense. We know Flus is going to do it, but he can coach, right? He can coach up the D and make those big tweaks and really focus time on the D.
Right. I mean, he's coming from Buffalo, and Buffalo's had decent defenses lately in that last few years. So I'm happy with the pickup.
Yeah, Mike, is this a coaching hire that has impact, or do you think this is a coaching hire that's just kind of like, oh, okay, so they got a DC?
His impact, Tremaine Edmonds came from his defense, so they're gonna know what to expect. I like this hire. Buffalo's always had a good defense. Carolina's, as bad as they are, they had a good defense. So, yeah, I like this hire.
You're on mute, Mike. God damn it.
I like the hire as well. I think it's more of practice and get them game ready because, as you guys seen, Eberflus is going to be calling the defense. So I like the hire. I don't think I could really grade it because he's just going to be getting them game ready, situational stuff like that. He's not calling the defense. That's all Eberflus.
Yeah, and we all look at this. Says it all right here about Flus. We know it's going to be his D, right? Number one rush defense in the league. Number one rush yards allowed in the league. Number one on interceptions. All a complete flip from the year previous, right? Year one of Flus, dead last and everything. His defense is obviously making an impact, and now we've got a defensive coordinator who can help execute his plan. And I don't know if he's actually going to call plays. He may take over some of the play calling from Flus. I don't know, but I mean, at minimum, like Mike said, it's at least now it's a guy who can run the defensive practice, who can work on specific issues in the D, knuckling in on maybe, hey, the DBs need work this week. Hey, the linebackers need work this week. I mean, so we've got three new coaches, guys. I mean, I think Woody brings up some interesting points on the OC, and I don't want to harp on a new OC, but at least we've got coaching in place as we've come out, about 4 weeks out now from free agency hitting, and we're not going to have to be trying to figure out who a coach is while evaluating talent as well. So, like, Mike, I mean, when you look at this way, and I know Woody thinks some of it maybe we jumped. Not to harp on Woody at all, because I don't mean to do that.
Please do.
All right, let me go to Woody on this one then. But Woody, let me give you a counterpoint to that we hired him fast. Now that you have your coordinators in place, you have your brain trust of coaches and polls that can now look at upcoming free agents. So couldn't this be more of a, not only just from a coaching, getting your feet on under your feet, but now you have some other people to evaluate talent as you come into this free agent class?
Well, yeah. Like I said, the coaches, I reiterated myself about jumping. I wanted us interview more people. That's all I wanted. Like, it's any job in the world. They're hiring 2 spots. Well, they're not going to hire the first 2 people they interview. They're going to keep interviewing until somebody hits the right spot. I'm just saying that, let me clear this out, is that I think we should have interviewed more people before we made that decision so quick. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, I understand about free agency and stuff, but we still had that little bit of time between when we hired the coaches and free agency to make that decision. So that's what I'm saying. Interview.
I mean, but like, bear down, Mike, if you know, right? I mean, we've heard that. How many times have we heard that in life? When you know. So, I mean, is there a prerequisite number of people you think a team should interview before they make a hire?
Yeah, there should be, but not always the case. I guess it just depends on who you interview. We interviewed how many Bears interviewed? Like 8, 9 guys?
Yeah, Crazy Ace, good morning to you. He says we interviewed 9 people.
9 people. I mean, that's quite a bit.
12.
To interview
12.
12. Well, that's
No,
a lot.
we should have interviewed fucking 12. That's just the magic number.
So I think they did do their due diligence in looking for an OC. It's not the one I would have chose, but at least they got one that's competent.
Yeah, I don't know, Dan. How many people do you think we needed to interview? Are you in Team Woody here? Where you think, hey, you have to have at least 12 to 15 before you make a hire, or are you of the camp? It's like, hey, when you know, you know.
I see where Woody's going with the adding or hold on, where he's going about interviewing, more interviewing like Ben Johnson or one of them, and that. But nine's a lot. Eight and nine is a lot of guys to be interviewed. And that I also see the point about when any job you go to, they interview a lot of people and say, we'll call you back or whatever, and
No, we should have interviewed everybody, and then it would have been enough. But
Thank you.
I don't think the number really mattered. They did 9 people. So, I mean, look at it. Did they interview Joe Barry and say, here's the job? No. I was kind of disappointed when he even had an interview. But obviously they seen something in him. I trust Poles. He's been doing great in the draft. So hopefully he's just building the team even better.
And when I look at
Joe Barry.
Well, when I go to Coach Waldron too, I wonder, like, when they talk to him, like, how much influence did he, I would say, in getting Geno Smith? Like, when they talked to him about when he was in Seattle, like, how much did he deal with player acquisition and evaluation? And look, there's some players that they've acquired in Seattle that are straight ballers. DK Metcalf, for example. What part did you have in that? How were you in the evaluation process? I think maybe some of that might have had to deal with it too. So I think Poles, he looks at a lot of different angles. And I'm not, we'll wait, as Woody said, we'll wait and see. I'm hoping they prove, as Woody said, prove him wrong. I hope they do. I mean, we all do, right? Because we want them to have a good year. My concern with Waldron is, his best offenses were middle of the road in the league. So I'm not sure. And then, like, do we wait for a guy like Kubiak? Do we wait to see if, Detroit would even let us talk to Johnson? I doubt they would have, So, I'm wondering if this is the upgrade over Getsy, because if you look at the offensive totals under Waldron, is he an upgrade over Getsy? I would say yes. I'd agree with Crazy Ace that yes, he is. But how much? Is it an incremental or is it a big upgrade?
Big upgrade.
You got to think too. Is Waldron going to help out Fields a lot as well? That's what they had to think about too. Is Waldron and the QB coach that they hired, are they going to run Fields off the Bears, or are they going to help him out? Are they the best fit to help him?
Assuming that Justin's still here.
Oh, here we go.
We won't get into. I mean, we'll get into that stuff later. If something happens, we'll get into it. But for now, we'll table the whole "is Fields still here" discussion. But I will say this about that: this hire really did not tip the hand of Ryan Poles one way or the other, whether he's going to trade Justin, if he's going to draft the quarterback, if you're going to make that trade. This is one of those hires where you really didn't get a sense one way or the other, because he could still go either way, because Waldron could either mentor a new quarterback or coach our current quarterback. So, and even the QB coach didn't really tip your hand. So I'll give Poles some kudos on that, because had he gone out and got an old boy that used to coach in I'm forgetting his name right now, I'm brain farting, from Baltimore, that we all like last week, like, ooh, this guy might be nice. Norman. If he got Norman, that says, okay, you're keeping Justin. Right? That sends a red star cluster up there in the sky to let them know, hey, these guys are probably going to keep Justin. Dude, this hire, Walter and Hire doesn't really tip your hand one way or the other. So if you're looking from a poker aspect about what you're going to do personnel-wise, I think Poles did a pretty good job of masking it in this hiring.
And another thing I was saying, that Chicago in the past had so many fucking problems with coaches. I thought they would at least take their some time to think about this. Even though free agents is coming up, I understand that. But our coaches, but the last since what? Lovie Smith, they all fucking suck. Sorry. I thought they would have took a little bit more time.
I wonder how much input Warren had in this process as well. I mean, obviously Eberflus had some input as the head coach. I wonder if that was a triad they spoke with. Was it Poles, Eberflus, and Warren, or was it just Poles and Eberflus? End of the day, we've made our hires, and that's where we're going. And we still got some coaches. I'll throw us back up. We got some coaches, right? We're going to do a receivers coach. I think the receivers coach and the running back coach, we might get a little hand tipping on those hires, maybe in a direction. I think with a tight end coach, look, if you resign Mercedes Lewis, he's basically a player coach, right? I mean, I was on a show the other night and they said, hey, if you guys if he retires, you guys should hire him as your tight ends coach. I would agree with that. But I'll take him as a player coach because he's still a blocking machine. So interesting thought there. The wide receiver coaches, I don't know nearly as much about. None of us really do. I don't think any of us get that deep into the weeds on some of these guys until the actual hire happens.
Well, Chris Beatty was the coach at the Chargers, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I guarantee Warren. Remember Warren, halfway through the season, says I'm going to wipe these coaches out and bring who I want to bring in. Which I don't understand why we had to fire our running backs coach and even maybe our tight ends coach. He just wanted a fresh start, and I guarantee that wasn't all Poles. That was Warren.
I think some of the running back stuff is because while Roshan has been developing into a good running back / blocking running back, running running back, catching running back, I think as a group they were still lacking in the blocking game and some other factions. Maybe that's why he made that move. The wide receiving coach, I mean, dude, they couldn't get open.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't all been Getsy, right? Some of it was Getsy, obviously, because his play calling sucked, but even DJ Moore struggled to get open. There's a coaching issue there. I think the tight end coach is because, dude, I don't need to pay you. Woody, if you're my tight end coach and I got Mercedes Lewis on my bench, on my team, why am I paying you?
Sign him for $1 million. I'll keep him.
Well, that would require him to be at practice on Thursdays.
You young fuck. So I guarantee Warren had something I think he was the main guy on these wiping these coaches out because he says, hey, I'm going to wipe these out. I'm bringing the people I want in. I remember him saying that quote for quote.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Ken, if you want me to be your tight ends coach, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I had a little internet issue there. Hey, guys, we're coming up on it. We got about a minute and a half left. Some changes coming up. We are moving our Wednesday night show to Saturday evenings now. Same bat time, just a different day. So, Mike, right, are we at 7 or 7:30?
7 p.m.
Central.
You know it, Woody.
Fuck you.
There we go. So it'll be on next Saturday on Roku and all the other Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Northeast Streaming Sports app on your TVs if you've got it. Definitely check us in there. But we're moving to Wednesday to every Saturday now, all 52 weeks of the year, and then of course the Sunday morning pregame shows will stay the same, and we'll run those like we're running this week. We got a lot of stuff still to chat about coming up this offseason. We got more coaches. We got drafts. We got free agent. We've got a whole new season coming up. There's going to be a lot of Bears to talk about. We're a team that's definitely trending in the right direction. But from all of us here at Halas Hall Report, for Woody, Bear Fan Dan, Bear Down Mike, and Mike the Bear Fan, I'm Ken saying, hey, be safe, and we'll see you all next Saturday. Bear down.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down.
Welcome to Halas Hall Report live every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. CST. Live talking Chicago Bears football with Mike the Bear Fan.